Broncos press conferences are almost back.
Wow.
But we're back today, one day before the Broncos hold their pre-draft press conference. Henry Chisholm, joined by Zac Stevens, here to break down the draft, which is 8 days away. And like I said, Henry, tomorrow we finally get to talk to someone with the Broncos organization. Been about a month since they've spoke. And tomorrow we get the Payton combo. George Paton, Sean Payton will be talking. And so we got a little programming note. Tomorrow, we're going to be going live just after the press conference. We're going to be going live at 12:45. So you're not going to want to miss that show where we either get a lot of information tomorrow or none. Maybe they say that, they're working on some trades to move up, to move down for players, something like that. I wouldn't be surprised. Sean Payton's a guy where he likes to talk. He likes to say things. Just like John Elway. Those press conferences are always interesting, so stay tuned to that. And first, our presenting sponsor, shout out to them, DraftKings Sportsbook. Use that promo code DNVR over at DraftKings Sportsbook to get all the deals they've got going on. So, Henry, we're a virtual press conference tomorrow.
Yes.
So we go in on our computers and put our little hand raise button on, like we're in second grade, and have to get called on in order to ask a question. If your hand gets called on, what's the question?
Oh, I was going to go through all these tonight.
You're toast. You're toast already, because the thing about these virtual press conferences, they suck, by the way. For us, no one wants to hear about us complain. So I'll keep it to that. But you don't know that you're getting a question until until it says on the screen, you're unmuted.
Yep.
And then you're supposed to ask the question.
Exactly.
And so that's going to be Henry's question.
No. I'll have a whole list tonight.
That's true. You also have to have the list.
Exactly. Because you don't know whether there's going to be 6 people in front of you and you're asking question number 7. So question number 7 better be a good one. I guess the big question is just do you want to trade up? Do you want to trade down? That's kind of where you start to me, because I feel like that's the big talking point at this point, because you don't have a first round pick or a second round pick. You don't have a second round pick next year either. So are you really willing to trade up? But yeah, I mean, do you want to move around? Like, the back-to-back picks is an interesting position to be in.
Yeah, that's exactly kind of where I would go as well. So hopefully you have question number 8 and I have question number 7, so I can get that one in before you. But I think it would just be about exactly moving around. How do they want to move around? Do they want to acquire more picks, or are they just kind of considering this year, kind of a wash year like we mentioned yesterday? Would they consider moving future picks? Is it players that they would do? How do they approach this draft? Because, Henry, Broncos have 5 picks in this draft. That's the fewest I believe they've ever had. They've never had to wait till the 3rd round in order to have their first pick in the draft. So if you're ever going to give a team an excuse and give a general manager an excuse and give an organization an excuse for a draft going into it, I mean, it really is this year, because the Broncos' first-round pick this year is Russell Wilson. The Broncos' second first-round pick this year is Sean Payton. The Broncos' second-round pick this year is Russell Wilson again. So that's why you really hope for a big increase from the quarterback position play this year, not just because the first and second round picks are Russell Wilson, but also because your other first round pick, who you traded for Bradley Chubb, got that first round pick, is your head coach, who's here to help the quarterback a ton. So in terms of the actual picks that will be coming here, do the Broncos just get a pass for a weak draft right off the top?
I don't know if we call it a pass, but I think it's the expectation. I don't think anybody's expecting to come out of this draft saying, wow, can you believe what the Broncos did? That's incredible. I think it's going to be something that people in Denver talk about. Like, the radio shows will talk about it Monday morning, and then back to Nuggets and Avs. Like, it's not the type of thing that's going to steal a bunch of headlines, which is sad, but it's the position they put themselves in. And if Sean Payton and Russell Wilson work out, that's just fine.
Man, that's the thing, Henry, is we would be saying, if Russell Wilson played like the Russell Wilson we thought the Broncos were getting, right now we would be saying the Broncos draft grade is an A for a draft that hasn't even happened yet, because they got their franchise quarterback. And you know what? That would make any 3rd round pick better, any 4th round pick better. But because he didn't live up to that, you probably actually go into this draft saying, there's no way the Broncos can get an A in this draft when their first and their second round picks so far have done. It doesn't look very good right now.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't know. When I go through the grades, I'm not going to think about where your picks are and that sort of stuff. It's just what you do with what you have at this point.
Wait, so it's going to be tough for the Broncos then, right, to get a good grade? If you're not giving them the excuses of no first or second round pick?
I think that you're pretty much locked into like the C plus B minus range because it's really tough to hit a home run with any of these picks. It's also really tough to be that disappointing, you know?
That's a good point.
Like unless they go out there and draft a punter in the 4th round.
Right.
Just gonna be like, yeah, I mean, these are guys who kind of were supposed to go around here. There's no position that you look at and say, wait, you just drafted a guy there? How could you do that? Like, just about anything kind of makes sense. So
it's a great point.
You could probably give out that draft grade today.
And what are you giving it?
A B minus, C plus.
There you go.
Yeah.
The Broncos draft grade 8 days before the draft. B minus, C plus. But Henry,
sure.
I think it's pretty damn good logic.
Yeah, just right there at average.
Yep. I think it's really good, and you're probably spot on with that. But maybe there are some ways to raise it to a B plus.
Yep.
Maybe by landing specific players, but I think more so when you look at this draft, it would be about landing ideal positions at the right time, getting a good position at 67, getting maybe a value position with the Broncos' 6th round pick. So let's actually do a little bit of a mock draft, as maybe we'll call it, of positions. How we would ideally like to see the Broncos draft play out, whether it's ideal because they get 5 certain positions, whether it's ideal because they get X position with number 67, their first pick. So let's go through this. Let's build a little position draft board here with the picks the Broncos have. And Henry, let's just stick to these picks right now. Let's not do any trading right now. And then maybe after we can go back and say, was it better to trade out? Did we like this? Should they trade it up, back? What should they have done? So Henry, after 67 picks of Roger Goodell, or after 66 picks of Roger Goodell getting up on the podium and saying every team but the Broncos and the 49ers, because they don't have a pick till, 99 or something. But he says 30 other teams' names. Finally, the Denver Broncos are on the clock. And with the 67th pick in the NFL draft, the Denver Broncos select...
That's a center. That's a center to me. I think there's a couple different ways you could go here, but it just makes too much sense. Like, you've got one hole. You've invested so much in that offensive line. That's the only position on the roster where I think a 3rd rounder probably is your starter. And with all those things kind of working together, just take a center there.
Yep. And Henry, we have not talked about this. I'm hoping we have some disagreements.
Yep,
If we don't have disagreements, though, maybe it's just that obvious of how this draft should unfold. But for the first one, we're going to agree. I'm going center as well.
Yep.
You hit it right on the head. Broncos have a massive gaping hole at the center of their offensive line. Lloyd Cushenberry, I guess, could be that guy. Here, you plugged in?
Yeah, but I'm not talking about it.
I don't know what
started laughing.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know what the laugh was about. Was it about this show?
You said something.
Oh, jeez, what a massive gaping hole. Why did that make you laugh? What is?
We can move along.
The time it took you to say the Broncos offense between that line just made me laugh. It's like,
Wow, I'm gonna have to go back. I think I missed something.
Maybe not.
Wow, maybe not. So we're both going center here.
Yep.
And I want people in the comment section who are tuning in live on YouTube, chat kind of popping off right now. Let us know what you think. We've already got some answers. Jared also agreeing with us that it was center. What else would it be if it wasn't center? The good thing is, if it's not center or you disagree with it, there's another pick right then.
there.
So it really doesn't matter with these 2 picks if it's center, if it's something else, because they're back-to-back. Unless you're trading it, no one's going to get your guy. Pretty funny that Dalton Reisner went ahead of Drew Lock, especially like if Drew would have panned out, it would have been like, man, they picked a guard over a quarterback, but in reality, it wouldn't have mattered. But Broncos have a very similar position here in terms of probably tens of thousands of dollars difference between this pick.
And that's the thing, though, is you can decide who you give that money to. And when you're talking about the top of the 2nd round, I wonder how much more Dalton Reisner made than Drew Lock because they chose them in that order.
That's such a good question. Probably when you just look at spotrack.com. It's probably minimal in terms of, it's just a decimal point, but we're talking like $100,000. That's a lot of money to me.
It is. It's definitely a lot.
Are you looking that up right now?
Yeah, I am.
Man, that's fascinating. Does Drew give John a little shit for that after drafting him? Maybe he was waiting to like become the guy, and then he never got to become the guy. So yeah.
I wouldn't be giving shit to the GM right after being drafted.
Yeah, probably not.
It's all right to be scared of him.
Yeah, it's true, especially when it's John Elway. Jared also in the comments saying potentially edge. Ty Rose saying just draft best player available. And you know what? We posted
should clarify.
This. What?
Just say like this is assuming that it's all equal. The best players all the same.
Man, and I said this yesterday, Henry, but people on Twitter can just be more brutal than people who like it feels like you're actually having a conversation with, aka people in this chat, people in our community. But we posted this on DNVR Broncos Twitter. Ideally, which position should the Broncos draft with their first one? A lot of good comments, and then someone saying, "What a stupid question! You have to draft best available." We're assuming.
Pretend it's a tie.
Exactly. That's what we're kind of saying. Ideally, how should this draft unfold?
Yeah.
And then at the end of this, we're going to say, okay, did we screw the Broncos out of not drafting X position, or does it flow okay? So there is a reason for doing this, but I agree. If there's an incredible defensive lineman there and the centers suck, well, then you're not going to be taking a center with 67. So we're just assuming all things are equal. Did you pull up those numbers?
Dalton got $132,000. Yeah, $132,000 more
in
total.
Like year one.
Total.
Throughout the 4-year contract. Okay, so yeah, $35,000 a year.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
How much are they making? Couple mil?
Well, Dalton not much at the moment.
That's very true. Drew making $4 million this year.
Yeah, that's solid.
Yeah.
Dalton was at 7.1 over 4 years.
Okay,
so less than 2.
I mean, $130,000 over $7 million, probably not that much.
Not that much. It'd be nice, though.
It would.
It'd be nice.
It certainly would, especially, I guess, when you don't have a job right now.
Exactly.
Okay, so the next pick, 67. Broncos are still on the clock. Roger Goodell can just stay right up there at the podium. What are they taking?
I'm going running back here.
Ooh,
I'm going running back.
I like it.
I think that there's a few other positions you could go to. We'll get to those soon, but this is another spot where you could find somebody who could play a lot. The difference between a third-round running back and fourth-round running back is massive. There's a real chance that there's 2 running backs off the board at this point. There's probably 3, but there's a real chance that it's only 2. And so
you can get the third best running back.
And you just look at the guys who are there. This is a good time to plug. It's going to be like 10 or 11 running backs the Broncos could draft. That's coming out tonight, so read that.
Love
it. But there's a lot of good backs, and that's a spot where I'd pick one that fits well instead of waiting.
Man, that is so tempting if the third best running back is available at 68, because you're not just getting a guy that can help out Samaje, help out Javonte. You're potentially getting your next guy, and a guy that would be the number 1 with Samaje being the number 2 if Javonte Williams isn't healthy. Henry, if they go running back at 68, that tells me not only is Javonte not going to be ready to start the season, which wouldn't surprise me at all, that tells me that they're kind of thinking Javonte may never be that guy again, which would just be brutal. If that's the world they're living in, though, they shouldn't be afraid to tell the public that. Like, they shouldn't be afraid to tell the public that by making a pick here. That would be the brutal reality, but that was something that they'd have to deal with. But for me, I'm gonna hope and cross my fingers that Javonte's okay enough for the long-term future that they don't have to take a running back here. And I'm torn, but I'm going to stick within the trenches. I'm going to go offensive tackle. So back-to-back offensive line picks. And this one, for this year, kind of stinks, because it's like, your second pick in the draft isn't going to start. You're hoping they never see the field this year, but you can get a lot of money. You can save a lot of money for moving on from Garrett Bowles. After this season, there were some rumors that Bowles was maybe being shopped. Obviously, that hasn't happened yet. But you get your future left tackle in the third round of this draft
Yep.
I would just love that. And the reason that he falls to the third round is because he's not ready to start this year. He needs a year to develop. That's perfect for me. Then I don't have to worry about this position next year in the first round. Broncos don't have a pick in the second round, so I don't have to force that next year. This would be great. And then also, with those 2 picks, you're showing up your offensive line this year with center and for the future with that left tackle, offensive tackle. And then also, right now, the Broncos don't have a swing tackle. So he also would have a role this year, just kind of stings being your second pick in the draft and you're discounting as a backup. But if you found a value guy there that just needs some time to develop, then I really, really like that pick.
Yeah, that'd be solid. That'd be really solid. Well, I think they saved $16 million moving on from Garrett Bowles next year.
Yeah.
So that's a big number. And that basically means you need your tackle to be able to play within $16 million of Garrett Bowles. There's a chance if you draft him in the third round. There's a real chance that happens. So that's not a bad pick at all.
Really quick, does that say defensive tackle? Yeah, here? Offensive tackle. I just couldn't see if that... It kind of looks like DEF from
can't
back
trust
here.
him.
Man, I thought I had good vision, but I maybe I don't.
I make things purposely small to test Zac every time.
Yeah, you
Wow.
really do. You're making my job difficult. Yeah, here it's not. The comment section gives me enough crap, anyways. What? Boo-hoo. Wow.
Boo-hoo.
Did you just drop a boo-hoo on the feed too? Wow. Okay. Our 2 third-round picks, center running back, center offensive tackle, both on the offensive side of the ball. With pick 108 in the 4th round, Henry, Broncos going offense again?
No. This is safety. And I thought about taking safety in the 3rd. I think that you could easily justify it because Caden Stearns, good when he plays, missed a lot of time last season. And even if he does play, having 3 safeties is nice.
Yeah.
And PJ Locke made a couple plays when he was on the field. I think his Pro Football Focus grade was something insane because he wasn't out there much. But did he have like the forced fumble?
Yep. At the
Which game was that?
was it not the 49ers
I think
game?
it was 49ers because it was definitely
at
a
the
night
very
game.
end, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So you make a couple game-winning plays, and all of a sudden you're way up there.
Yep.
And he's a good player. He's a good special teams guy, that sort of stuff. But I do think it's possible to upgrade. And again, we don't know what we're going to get as Caden Stearns this year.
Yeah.
So having another guy there probably makes sense. I would, we talked about Antonio Johnson a couple days ago.
Yep.
I'm not sure if he's the exact prospect I'd go after, but somebody who does have some slot versatility, maybe even just somebody who you think could play corner straight up. You're kind of asking to get stuck in that tweener spot, but if there was a player like that, I would lean that way. Because honestly, you could justify cornerback as well.
Yep, you certainly could. You could go so many different routes here. I can't ignore running back anymore, though. I mean, you weren't far off by taking a running back in the 3rd, but I do think if you wait until the 4th round, I think that gives you a little bit of hope that Javante's long-term future is going to be okay, but also a 4th-round running back is a guy that could come in and be your number 1, potentially from the start.
Potentially.
And I think that running back is a position that you can find on day 3 that has a higher chance of turning out to be a day 1 player, maybe not started, but day 1 player, than maybe any other position that you draft in the 4th round, potentially. I think it's up there at least. So I'm going running back here. If he's not a day 1 starter, that's okay. But I think day 3 running back, especially early on with that 4th round pick, can be a good complement to Samaje P. Ryan. 5th round now.
And just on the running back a little bit more.
Yeah.
I mean, with Samaje P. Ryan's deal, they either pay him $4.5 million in 2024 or $1.5 if they cut him. So that's a $3 million savings. That's pretty big.
Yeah.
So even if they do think Javonte is probably going to be himself, it's just going to take a couple weeks at the start of the year. Even if they think he's going to be himself at the start of the year, there's no reason they couldn't take a running back here because I mean, you're going to want somebody at some point whose contract extends past Javonte's, just that you have some sort of flexibility when that time comes.
Yeah. And right now, really, really quick, obviously they have not signed Latavius Murray. Latavius Murray has taken a visit with the Bills. Latavius Murray may not be the best complement to a Samaje P. Ryan. They're both similar in at least their build and kind of their style of running when they have the ball in the tackles. But with the other player the other running back they signed this offseason, Tony Jones Jr., he has a handful of carries in his NFL career.
Doesn't play much special teams either.
Yeah, so I'm just have a tough time being sold that he's really your number 2 running back if Javonte's not healthy.
Definitely. Like, they need more numbers. They're going to draft a running back at some point.
Yep.
Question is just when. Right. And I would guess it's pretty early.
I would think so, too. I thought about going running back at 68, and obviously, if you think about it, 68, you think about it 67 as well.
Exactly.
So you're not crazy for saying that they do it at 68.
Yep. Even like if they traded up for Jahmyr Gibbs, like if there's a world, like I don't know. I think that if I had to set the line, I'd say he just picked it like 41.
Oh,
right around there. But if he winds up sliding down to 60.
That's so tempting.
I know. That's when it gets really tempting. You use
one of your third-round picks next year and one of your third-round picks this year to get up in the second to take him, and then you still have a third this year.
Yep.
Oh, man.
If he slips, it would be tempting.
I was trying to be responsible. I was trying to be George Payton today and understand the value of these picks.
He took Javonte in the second.
And he traded up.
Exactly.
To get Javonte in the second, too.
Yep.
And then Jahmyr Gibbs, too. Man, it's probably not good news for Javonte's future if they trade up, especially a future third in order to get him.
Well, though.
But that's the thing.
Yeah,
is they
fit perfectly.
Very well. And then I'll get excited. Love that pick.
It would be incredible.
Henry, maybe that's how they go from a C+, B-
totally
to an A.
That's what I was saying is because I'd written that part in the story. I was like, that's the one little thing, but I wasn't going to spoil it.
It helps that he also went to Alabama. So,
does it? No, you're kidding.
It does.
Huh. Most catches for Alabama last year.
Isn't that insane?
It is insane.
Yeah.
It is really insane.
Especially with a quarterback who's going to be the number 1 overall pick. It's not like he didn't have a quarterback that wasn't throwing to wide receivers.
Yep. I'd be tempted. There's a couple of those guys. Like I guess it makes sense that all the running backs, they're kind of like second, third, even into the fourth, or receiving backs, just because those are the more valuable kind.
Man, Jahmyr Gibbs can run between the tackles, like you said. He's also extremely dangerous out of the backfield as a receiver. But to have Javonte in the future, being Javonte Williams, who just trucks people, and then Jahmyr Gibbs, who can do that, but is just elusive as can be, especially with Sean Payton, who wants to run the ball and who wants to kind of have this offense work through the running backs. And what a great weapon for Russell Wilson as well. Also, Russ is going to have to work on getting the ball out, not getting sacked. He led the league in sacks last year. The Broncos gave up the most sacks this year. What a perfect just safety net to have. Is just Jahmyr Gibbs coming out of the backfield. So if Russ is about to get hit, he just dumps it to him.
And on top of that, Sean Payton wants to have a lot of different options. Like he is the furthest thing from a single back coach. Like he was more likely to have 3 running backs that he gets in there.
Right.
I mean, like the easy comp for it is just Javonte has upgraded Mark Ingram, and Jahmyr Gibbs you're hoping is Alvin Kamara.
Easy.
And those guys spent enough time on the field together to show that it works.
And honestly, not just doing the easy comp. I actually think Jahmyr Gibbs' comp is Alvin Kamara. So, I mean
exactly.
So I think that makes a lot of sense. And then you think, well, that's also who Sean Payton had and drafted at a similar spot as where we think Jahmyr Gibbs could go. My goodness.
Yeah.
I would love this.
Gibbs is a first rounder. Yeah. Like there's some people who say he'll go late first. Early second is probably my guess.
Right.
But if something crazy happens and he slips, the further he slips, the more tempting it's going to be because that's just a game changer.
Jahmyr Gibbs is definitely, in my opinion, a first-round talent. Maybe somewhere in the 20s. But I've seen many mock drafts where he is slipping to the second, Henry. So it's pretty crazy to say he slips to 67.
Yes.
But that's why we're talking about it's a trade-up in order to get him.
Yep. And the big thing's just going to be Bijan Robinson because he's like one of the 3 best players in the draft.
Right.
But how high can you justify taking a running back?
Right.
Like, 10 is probably the earliest, at least from what I've seen. If he winds up slipping down into the 20s, that's where that nobody even considers Jahmyr Gibbs until Bijan Robinson's off the board.
Correct.
So the farther he falls, that makes Gibbs slip even further. It's just tough that he's a clear number 2.
Right.
Like Devon A-Chain or A-Chain, however you say that, is probably number 3, but he's behind him. So it'd be really surprising to see somebody take A-Chain in front of him.
That would be crazy. And just
it would be.
Gibbs is great, but it would also just be shocking if he went ahead of Bijan.
Yes.
Like there's a clear 1 and 2 in this draft.
It's like,
and then a big gap till 3.
It's kind of like Saquon and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. As much as I hate to give him the bust comp,
Was
That's
Clyde the second running back taken?
No, that wasn't the same draft.
Okay.
But just
right,
in terms
right,
of prospects.
Right.
You're looking at the super elite does everything, and then like the receiving third down.
Don't do that.
Well, I feel
Jameer.
bad. But I mean,
that's a negative
we're talking
thing.
about like
that's
late.
a negative thing you
It
said
is,
about the Chiefs, Henry.
but it's
Good job.
well,
there
no,
we go.
he's
Can we
a
get some
bust.
claps for him here? Oh no claps. Okay.
They do similar things though. I'm supposed to be drafting about the same spot.
Both SEC running backs.
Oh yeah, quarterbacks just wanted to check the ball down to him.
Yeah. Boy, now you're not selling me on Jahmyr Gibbs.
I mean, there's bust there
he's
too.
Not Clyde Edwards.
Who's another? I know. Like Trent Richardson. Could also give the Trent Richardson comp to Bijan Robinson if we wanted to, because there's bust way up at the top too.
I mean, wasn't he the third pick in the draft?
Yeah, exactly.
And you're saying the Bijan could be the third best player in the draft?
Probably.
Yeah.
There you go. They've busts
There
everywhere.
we go. There's the high ceiling, low floor. Hey, we did that to BJ yesterday.
Yeah.
BJ Ojolari.
Somewhere between Nick Benito and Von Miller.
Exactly.
How could we be more clear?
Exactly. Okay, Henry. 5th round pick, number 138. Where are you going?
This is another tough one because there's a couple different options. I'm going cornerback here. You know, 5th round is probably too late to get somebody who can play this year. Or that's not true. That you expect to play this year.
Right. No, I agree.
Last year, you had Tariq Woolen go right there. And Tariq Woolen goes right there. That's a steal.
Wait, he wasn't 5th.
I think he was 5th.
I thought he was 2nd.
No, definitely not.
Sure, he was the 2nd or 3rd. I think he was 2nd or 3rd round.
5th round.
No way.
Yeah, he was 5th round.
Oh my God.
Yeah, pick
Wow.
153. But yeah, so I mean, you could find a stud there. I mean, even Damari was 4th round, right? Was he 3rd, 4th?
Damari was 4th.
4th?
Yeah.
So there you go. Maybe you wind up with another Damari Mathis, and that's great too.
Yep.
This would be I don't love this pick. I'll just say that because I feel like what you need right now is probably just a veteran. Unless you do take somebody with one of the 3rd round picks and say, like, this is somebody who could play this year, you probably just need a veteran to patch that room up. This is a little bit risky because if you say you do need somebody to take over for Damari, now you're throwing the 5th round rookie in there. You expect that to work?
Right. No.
So I don't love it, but that is another position where if you hit on this guy, K'Wan Williams' contract expires, there's your 3. There's Pat Surtain, Damari Mathis, whoever this is. And if you don't love it, if you want to go get a slot guy, bring back K1 for another year for $2 million. There's no reason you can't. And then all of a sudden you have 4 guys you trust, which is just a nice, stable position to be in.
Mm-hmm. I think you made a great point about cornerback, probably a veteran, because you have that young guy in Damari. And if he doesn't work out, then you get someone who you can trust in there. And that's why I'm not going secondary. And I'm probably not going secondary this entire draft. This is when we start to veer quite a bit, Henry, because I'm going trenches again. I'm going defensive line. Probably not going to get a starter here, but if you can get a rotational player as a rookie here to push any to be that starter, to be a backup to any and kind of rotate there, man, you're feeling really good. The Broncos still have kind of an opening at defensive line. I considered going here with the 2nd pick in the draft at offense instead of going offensive tackle, going defensive line. I just really, really wanted to give as much resources to the offensive line as possible. But outside of running back, I mean, I'm sticking in the trenches here, and I think defensive line would be a good pick here. I also think you could defensive line's kind of a valuable, especially when we're talking like defensive tackle, nose tackle. These are positions that you can get a little more value later in the draft. So I think you can get a good player here. Not necessarily a day one starter by any means, but I think you can get a guy that's going to come in and potentially have a rotational role this year.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. And I'll just say mine. That's where I'm going with my 6th round pick. Again, it's another one where you need to just add somebody to that room who can play. Yeah. And I'm not sure if a rookie's the right way to do it. If you do it in the 3rd round, then I do think that that's the way to do it. But in this case, the way I look at it is Matt Henningsen's part of the rotation. He showed enough. We expect him to be able to play this season. And you need either this guy or any Uwazurike to also be in the rotation, kind of be that last guy in the rotation. And so it's kind of an insurance pick in that way. But yeah, I guess I would also be looking for somebody with some pass rush ability. Like if you're taking a 6th round defensive lineman, get somebody with some tools, with some upside, and that might mean he's less likely to be productive this year.
Right.
Take the gamble, see what happens.
Right, probably a lower floor, higher ceiling is what you're doing by going after a pass rusher specifically, as opposed to a 350-pound nose tackle that's just going to stuff the middle. That guy probably has a lower ceiling, but also a higher floor.
Definitely.
And also, when I'm saying defensive line, I'm kind of thinking more defensive end than I am nose tackle specifically. So I'm kind of right there with you. And my final pick in the draft is something that I want to see, but the Broncos don't have to prioritize it for me in order to do this. But until you have your quarterback situation completely figured out, you should probably be drafting a quarterback in every single draft. So I'm going quarterback here with the 6th round pick. This one is certainly a luxury. But again, if you don't have the quarterback position figured out, might as well take a flyer. Now, this one kind of stinks because it's one of your 5 picks.
Exactly.
And you're guaranteeing for the most part that this guy's going to be the 3rd guy on your depth chart at the position. He's going to be bottom there. But again, what if one of these guys falls? Hendon Hooker's not going to fall to the 6th round. I'm not going to kid myself with that. But Thompson Robinson out of UCLA, if he falls, now a lot of people, especially Dre, really buying his stock, thinking he's going to go in the 2nd or the 3rd round. Dre thinks a similar comp to him, not necessarily in exactly how they play, but his trajectory is Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts just got $255 million and took his team to the Super Bowl last year and was in the MVP conversation. So, of course, if you think he's that, then he's going in the 1st round. But if a guy like that falls because he's a smaller guy, people are worried about his stature because he's certainly not Jalen Hurts benching or squatting 700 pounds at Alabama.
Also, no Heisman's.
Just
throw that one in there.
Yep, very true. No college football playoff appearances, no national championship appearances, no national championship rings like Jalen Hurts as well. But let's just say a guy like him or a guy with some upside or honestly, a Taysom Hill guy who has the quarterback title to him. Get Sean Payton, his guy. The Broncos did that in free agency by going after Jarrett Stidham. That's clearly Sean Payton's kind of project guy. Go and get one more, whether it's Taysom Hill for him, whether it's just a talented guy. Sean Payton is obviously clearly not sold on Russell Wilson, so I would like to see them go after a quarterback at some point in this draft. Maybe it happens with the trade back or something like that. Maybe you use that 6th to pick up 2 7ths, and then you use one of them on a quarterback. But I do want to see a quarterback brought in here. And Henry, there's kind of some interesting things when I go through this and when I was thinking about this and we just went through this that I want to dive in, some takeaways from going through this after I tell you about our friends over at Game Time. The Nuggets are back on the court tonight. You want to go to the game, check out our friends over at Game Time. The awesome thing with Game Time is games can sneak up on you, especially when I think there's 7 straight days of Nuggets, Avs, Nuggets, Avs, Nuggets, Avs. Games can sneak up on you. But the longer you wait, the actual better it is in terms of getting in at a discount. If you want to go to tonight's game but don't have tickets, you're not out of luck. You check out our friends over at Game Time. You can get some tickets there at a very reasonable price. You want to go to the Avs game tomorrow because they're back, try to rebound after last night, you can go to Game Time and use that promo code DNVR. When you sign up using their app, they're going to give you $20 off your first order. So you can get into a Nuggets game maybe for pretty affordable, especially $20 off. So check them out. Game Time. Click the link in our description and use that promo code DNVR.
And also check out our friends over at Pins and Aces. They've got a whole bunch of really cool golf gear. It's tough to explain. Like, there's no way to say, like, it's just, like, really cool stuff. It's, like, really... Because it's all just so different. And honestly, some of it's a little bit strange. But golfers are really into that stuff, and I can't blame them. There's, like... I think we've talked about the head covers before. So we can hit on some of these shirts. But there's, like, shirts with...
Weed.
Yep, those are those. I didn't want to say it. I was looking, I was like, is that what that is? And then I realized it was called paraphernalia. And I was like, that is definitely what that is.
I think it was their 420 collection.
Yes, I believe that. There's also like flowers and palm trees, more typical stuff. Well, we hit on those. There's other stuff too.
Both.
Yes. This is the Yeti polo. It's a bunch of Yetis, golf carts, Yetis golf, and that sort of stuff. Alien Invasion. Again, I'm sure you can imagine what that one looks like. But yeah, just a whole bunch of really cool stuff that you definitely cannot find anywhere else. They also have a little bit more simple clothing for people like you potentially if you don't wear those. Wow,
also, regardless of what the designs are, extremely comfortable.
Yeah,
I mean, with golf, you want something that's gonna stretch with you. They certainly do that.
Definitely. They've got the Jungle Cat shirt. It's a jaguar. I'm not sure why I didn't just commit to what the animal is, but yeah, I mean, it's just
Jungle Cat sounds cooler.
Yeah, it does sound cooler.
Yeah.
But I can look at that and say, yeah, that's a Jaguar. I know that print. And so it's just like Jaguar print everywhere. It's really cool stuff. Definitely go check it out, especially with golf season just around the corner. And you can get 15% off your first order and get free shipping if you use the code DNVR at pinsandaces.com, PINS and ACES.com.
There you go. Good spelling. Good spelling, Henry. And yes, when we were talking about weed, we weren't talking about Lloyd Cushenberry on shirts. We were talking about the other Kush. So thanks for pointing that out, Cody. You hit it spot on. And also, speaking of Cody, he's obviously the champion for asking us for thumbs up. So if you guys wouldn't mind hitting us with a thumbs up. We're in a downtime right now. Obviously, Broncos shutting everything off. We're going to be back big time tomorrow with some real news coming out of the Broncos press conference. But if you guys wouldn't mind dropping us a like right now, really helps us out. Subscribe to our channel on podcasts. Hit us with that subscribe. Also hit us with a 5-star review. We really, really appreciate it. And we just love everyone who's participating in the comments as well, because again, these comments can be a lot better than comments online. So we love you guys for tuning in. But Henry,
people are going to be pissed about this graphic.
You think so?
I mean, they're pissed about everything. We won't deserve it. But they're gonna be. It's just gonna be the best player available thing.
That's very.
There's gonna be a lot of that.
When we tweet this out, we're gonna put in all caps something like, assuming all players are best available, and there's still gonna be people that are mean. But you're here. Can we look at that graphic? What are people gonna hate about it? I think people will like. People may not like how running back is one word.
They definitely will not.
Yeah, they'll definitely get after you here for that.
As they should.
He's not even listening to us right now. That's great. That's classic. Running back is 2 words.
Running back. Running back.
You say it, running back doesn't make it one word.
That's what you did. Running back.
Yeah, you
running back. You just say running back. You don't say it's running back, not running back.
No, you said it with a space.
You have it as one word.
But you wrote running back.
Yes, when you say running back, that's all you gotta say. Running back is different from running back. You see what I mean?
Running back has a space. Running back does not have a space.
I'm so confused right now.
You don't understand. I'll talk to you after the show.
All we're asking for is a space in between the word running and back on the graphic.
You should get rid of the one between offensive and tackle.
It's just offensive tackle. That's all they thought. Running back.
No, the position is right. It's 2 words.
I am so confused with what is going on.
It's more about how you're saying it. Just because you say running back really quick, it doesn't make it one word. Saying running back together, that's how it says one word.
No, because right next to it is offensive tackle. Then next to that is running back.
You've been saying running back, not running back.
You're spelling it the way Hank says it.
Exactly.
Oh, so this is a very nuanced shot at you.
Wow. Offensive tackle.
This was a deep one. This was a deep cut.
We're giving him a lot of credit.
But that's what I'm saying.
Did Zach say it fast too when he told you to put
Did I
his
say
name?
running back fast?
Yes.
I feel like I don't.
No, you guys say running back. You guys say running back. You guys don't say running back.
Oh,
There's
wow.
a difference.
I guess you got to tune into the show to understand why running back is one word then.
Well, we're getting flamed for that part too.
People will hate us on Twitter for that. So I don't think they'll hate us for center. I think
that's fine.
They might go after me for quarterback. But again, come on. I'm using the 6th round pick.
My problem isn't the pick. It's the roster spot. Keeping 3 on the roster is the tough part for me.
It's fair.
If it was like Josh Johnson instead of Jarrett Stidham, and I was like, well, have fun on the practice squad, Josh. That's fine.
Right.
Or even like a 7th round pick if you want to try it and try to sneak him onto the practice squad.
Yeah.
But it's the roster spot that scares me more.
And
I don't hate it.
To me, why I don't mind that is because the Broncos don't have the starting spot completely figured out. So if you don't, then I'm okay using 3.
Yeah.
But if you have your starter and you have your backup, then it doesn't make sense to just carry a 3rd.
Yeah.
But the Broncos don't have that right now, in my opinion.
The odds of a 6th round pick getting an opportunity this year seems slim, though.
Yeah.
Like when you have
that's
Stidham.
Fair. That's fair. Probably the odds of a 6th round pick at 80% of positions are pretty thin anyways. So that's why I'm okay going with a quarterback. Running back, I think, as Shahir has fixed it too. People might say that's just a little too early, but otherwise, I think people will be okay with this. But when I look at this, man, would it be nice to have a defensive line? You kind of mentioned it yesterday, Henry, of the 2 third-round picks and the 4th-round pick being positions that you can kind of cross your fingers at and say, I want some production out of these guys. And with crossing your fingers and hoping, you can be kind of realistic about getting some production out of those. 5th-round pick, it's a little tougher to count on those guys and really hope for those guys to be productive this year. But I really want those top 4 guys to be productive on the team this year. So it does make the opportunity of taking a pick, taking 67, making that a pick, and then trading that 3rd back into 2 4ths and creating 2 4th-round picks out of that 3rd. And then you can convince yourself that you just opened your draft up from potentially getting 3 guys that can compete this year to now 4 guys that can compete. If you hit on half of them, well, you feel pretty good about that. If you're getting 2 guys from this class, especially not having a pick till the 3rd. So I actually take a little bit of George Payton philosophy here, and I could understand why they would trade back if they're able to accumulate 2 4th-round picks. But then during this process of us doing it, I kind of like the way my board turned out. And then during the process, you convinced me that we could trade up and get a 2nd-round pick and get Jahmyr Gibbs. So I don't think the Broncos I don't think you can look at the draft and say, man, if they trade up, it's a bad move. If they trade back, it's a bad move. I do think that there's many ways that the Broncos can be successful in this draft, which I don't always feel. Sometimes I feel like, oh, man, if they move out of that 1st-round pick, it's going to be really bad or something like that.
Yep.
Did we just have a car accident behind us?
That's what it kind of sounded like. Just looking at this quickly, it looks like there were 9 players who were starters who were drafted in the 4th last year, which is more than I would have expected.
Yeah,
I'm not sure how that's calculated. I just guess it means started more games than not.
Okay.
Maybe. Or most at that position for that team, but 9. 5th round, there's 2.
There you go.
Yep. With
there you
Tariq
go. That's
Woolen being one
exactly
of
why
them.
you kind of drew the line at 4th and 5th.
Exactly. And then 3rd, let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 also.
Okay.
I feel like that was a weird year for 4th. Like 9, I guess one's a kicker, which is crazy. One's a punter.
Kickers count.
So there's 2.
Punters count.
Yeah, okay. So like 7 on kicker and punter, but I don't
But
know.
look at that drop off. 9
Definitely.
in the 3rd, 7 in the 4th, 2 in the 5th.
Yeah. Like
So there you go.
Yeah.
3rd and 4th, you can get, and I'm not even asking for starters. I'm just really asking for productive players.
Deuce Vaughn is in the chat. It's a weird one, like, because I'm writing about the running backs and I haven't decided whether to include him or not. Like, I feel like I have to just because Ryan will be pissed if I don't.
Whoa, why would you not include it? I like Deuce Vaughn too.
Well, yeah, but like CBS Sports just dropped their mock draft. He's undrafted in that one.
No.
Yeah. Like he's not like, if they draft him, it's gonna, like, it could be him or one of 10 other guys on day 4 or day 3. Sorry.
Man. So wait, I have running back as my 4th-round pick.
Yep.
I would like if it was Deuce. I would like it if it was Deuce Vaughn.
Wow.
Yep.
He's too small.
Yeah, I would love
He's
it.
He's too small.
Darren Sproles. Talk to Darren
it's
Sproles
happened
about
once.
being too small.
It's happened
with
once.
Sean Payton. Oh no, I guess not.
I thought you were gonna say Sean Payton's short, and I was like, wait, what does that have to do with anything? No, I mean, just because it's happened before does not mean it's a good plan.
It's true.
Like,
but
how many?
I also don't just like saying because a guy's short, you can't draft him.
I'll say because one guy's shorter than the other, I'm taking the other.
But
Like,
Deuce Vaughn just brings something else.
I mean, there's a lot of fast running backs. There's a lot of guys who can run.
Man, if the Broncos haven't drafted a running back and Deuce Vaughn's there in the 6th,
Sure, I'm in.
Goodness. Oh my goodness, I'd love that.
Even if they have drafted, they still have 8 picks.
I agree.
Like, it's just
that
so
would
hard
be tough. 40% of your draft is running backs.
But again, like, would make sense for the running back position to go get 2 guys, because then all of a sudden you have
Man,
your
that would be bad news
rotational.
For Javonte.
That probably would be. But again, I mean, that just means you're carrying 4 into the season, and so you're cutting Tony Jones.
Right.
So is that really that big of a deal if you do it and
For
have
the
to cut?
future, though.
But then for the future,
I
you have
guess you move on from Samaje. I mean,
yeah, and then you have your 1, your 2, and you have your speed guy.
I think it would be bad more so in not the roster construction, but it's what this means for Javon in terms of like their diagnosis of him for the future.
It could be. But it could also be that they say there's plenty of room for 3 running backs with Sean Payton.
That's
like
true.
He uses more running backs than I don't know,
Man.
maybe. Kyle
If you
Shanahan,
draft
there's a
2
lot of
running
guys
backs, one of them should be Deuce Vaughn. If you're going the 2 running back route, just because the upside.
Definitely. Then he's definitely worth the risk, especially if he's there in the 7th. You wind up with the 7th because of a trade.
So you get Jahmyr Gibbs and Deuce Vaughn in this draft. And you have Javonte Williams.
That might be a little bit redundant, but
Deuce
why
Vaughn,
not?
is he 155?
Yeah.
Is that Samaje Perine? 240. Samaje Perine, same position as Deuce Vaughn, almost 100 pounds bigger. Can you? What other position do you have that?
I mean, I guess you get some really big tackles. So like you could have like a 390 pounder.
It would
like
have to be
Mekhi
defensive
Becton.
tackle. Oh, Mekhi's 400 pounds almost.
think-
before this offseason.
it was-
This offseason he's really
True.
slimmed.
I think going into the combine, he like lost some weight, but
Yeah.
before that, they're like I guess 364 was his combine weight.
So then, losing weight, he was
264
probably.
you probably don't find.
No, defensive tackle, though.
You definitely could.
You still don't see it, though. There's like no
No.
380 defensive tackles.
Yep. Dane Brugler also did a 7-round mock draft, and he had Deuce Vaughn in the 5th.
Okay.
So there is, I mean, which is what
Okay.
you expect.
Yeah. So somewhere in the 4th. Okay.
Oh, 4th.
That's just insane, though. Or somewhere on day 3. Did I say 4th?
Yeah.
Yeah. Somewhere in day 3. But man, that size comparison is just
It is.
wild. Speaking of wild sizes, Henry, let's dive into our draft player prospect preview.
Yes.
Get all the P's in there and talk about someone you call a physical freak.
Physical freak. Let's see. I'm trying to remember. Oh, Joe Tippmann. There we go, center. Again, just a massive guy from Wisconsin. That's what really stands out. I think he was a big-time recruit also. How could you not be 6'6", 313?
I believe he was Mr. Illinois football player of the year in high school.
Sounds like who they would choose.
Yeah. So
Exactly.
he was a big-time recruit. Best football player in the state of Illinois.
Played really well. I think probably the number 1 center in this draft. There's that John Michael Schmitz sometimes is up there. But he probably is the top center in the draft. Again, there's some debate. There's even, I saw somebody yesterday say like, it was the top 16 offensive players in the draft. Our guy Steve Avila's in there.
Yep.
No other centers in there.
Wow.
And so that might be more based on like current ability, and not so much draft potential, but there is some debate around the top. And that's why you probably see one of these guys fall to the Broncos, at least be an option at 67. I doubt any centers go in the first round, maybe one in the first 10 picks or so of the second, but even that is probably 50-50. And so Tippmann very well could be on the board. I mentioned it in the graphic, the leverage is the big concern. You just don't see centers that big because they don't need to be that big. Like usually when you're on the edge, you like to have that length and that reach and be able to take up a lot of space. I guess you kind of want to take up space in the middle, but you want to be able to get low and hit guys. And so sometimes, you see how tall is Deshaun Williams?
Not tall.
Not tall.
Oh my goodness.
Like under 6 foot, maybe?
Yes.
Like Deshaun Williams going up against a guy who's 6'6", he gets low, gets around, he can probably push him back. So there are some issues with some guys like that. Those issues you might be more concerned about at the next level because now all of a sudden you're going up against NFL players.
Sure.
College guy could do it. Then not. Flip side of that, not as many small defensive linemen in the NFL as there are in college. So that could play out in a couple different ways. Good athlete for sure.
Yep.
Not the most like bendy type of guy, but I mean
You don't
6
need to
foot
be a
6.
center.
Exactly. 6'6", big, strong. I'm not sure if we have. No, we don't have his bench press here, but potentially the best center in the draft.
Yeah, and to me, I do think he's absolutely in that conversation. That's why he's not going to be there at 67. If he is, what a home run pick for the Broncos right here. We both had center at 67. If it's Joe Tippmann, that is a great pick for the Broncos. And Henry, you hit it spot on. Oh, yeah, here, can you pull up the graphic again? Because I think the picture that you put for him is just perfect. The downside of him is, look at the way he's playing right here. He's like, he's hunched over, leaning forward. Really, the only downside to him is that sometimes it's just, I don't mean lazy in a bad way. I just mean like when he's playing the competition in college, he just uses his top half a little too much. But I don't think that's like a chronic problem for him where he can't use the lower half. He just plays top heavy. And as you see there, he kind of looks top heavy there. Is specifically in college, that happens when you're 6'6". I think that's something that he can work on. And again, I don't think that's like an issue that's going to kill him in the pros. But he is super smart as well. According to his coaches and everyone, he makes all the calls at the line. That's what the Broncos need. That's what anyone needs from a center, but especially the Broncos, so that he can help Russell Wilson out. He can be in between two vets and really learn the offense quickly and be making the calls and checks at the line of scrimmage. So that is just a huge bonus on top of the physical features that he has. 6'6", you're right, Henry. You don't see 6'6" at center often, but to me, it's not something where I'm scared away from him. You just got to make sure that he works on his leverage a lot. But man, this would be such a good pick for the Broncos if they can get him in the third.
And the other thing that you kind of worry about with the really big guys is, can they get to the second level?
Yeah.
And that might be what he's best at. Is just like sprinting forward, finding a linebacker, finding a safety, and just hitting him. Again, a little top heavy. Can use that as like a battering ram when you're out in space against those guys. Also, again, like if you're worried about leverage, hopefully he finds his way around the Deshaun Williams, because he is the type of guy you want against a 6'6" Chris Jones, for example.
That's a very good point.
And so if you kind of look at that and say, we really like his matchup against the great defensive linemen, we can figure out a way to make it work against the guys who aren't as good, just to kind of put it bluntly. Either he can beat them, if not, like centers, you typically have help. Like more often than not, you're going to have help with all your blocks. So it's not like it's going to be the end of the world. But the idea of him getting out in space with Quinn Miners right next to him is, and Mike McGlinchey too, all those guys are just so mobile.
Oh my goodness, mobile, and what a big offensive
Then you start throwing
line.
Powers and Bowles in too, and you're just massive.
Ben Powers would be your smallest offensive lineman?
But biggest by weight.
Wow.
Yeah.
You just simply would not have a small offensive lineman. You wouldn't even have an average offensive lineman.
No.
Yeah, your shortest would be Ben Powers.
Yep.
But he's also your thickest. And then Mike McGlinchey's your tallest and probably the skinniest.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Wow, what a monster offensive line the Broncos are already going to have, but especially if they add a guy that's 6'6", 315.
Totally. I mean, it would be sick.
That's a big tackle, let alone center.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, that's prototypical tackle size.
Man,
it's like what you're looking for.
Man, I love it. And again, I don't think his size will hurt him if he's surrounded by the right offensive line coach.
Are you worried about Russ being short?
Oh, man, with that line, that's a good question. Man, because he'd have to throw over, Garrett Bowles is 6'3", 6'8", 6'6".
Is Garrett Bowles only 6'3"? He might
maybe
be.
He's 6'4". What do you find?
Broncos have him listed at 6'5". Let's see what the combine says.
6'5". Oh, wow.
He's just so wide that it's not the height that stands out.
Damn. 6'5". That's even crazier. And as Alex says, happy birthday to Lil Jordan Humphrey.
Happy birthday to Lil Jordan Humphrey.
There's nothing little about Lil Jordan Humphrey, and there's nothing little about this offensive line. Did you find his combine size?
6'5", 297 at the combine.
Damn.
34-inch arms. That's what got him drafted. Is just like, you want to talk physical freaks. Like, Bowles beats Tippmann by a mile.
By a mile, really?
Oh, yeah, but he also just holds everybody.
Wow.
So that's the downside.
Oh, man. Henry, today there's a little confusion in the office. Some people thought that we were moving our show up to 12, or moving our show back to 12:45. But no, that was actually tomorrow. So the show that's going earlier tomorrow, and so we can flip. Thought they were going at noon today. And then when I told them, no, we're going at noon. We're the Broncos.
Yep.
I didn't say it like that. But they were like, oh, well, do you want to... They were talking to each other, and they're like, oh, well, let's go to Illegal Pete's. I'm like, oh, no. You kidding me?
Wow.
We'll go later so we can go to Illegal Pete's.
Yeah.
Because Illegal Pete's is just the absolute best. Whether you want lunch during the week, whether you want dinner on the weekends, whether you want brunch on the weekends, Illegal Pete's is the place to go. They have delicious food, the best queso in town, and on top of that, just the best margs that you're going to find. So many drinks. They've got full bars at all their locations, plus seriously the best food that you can have, especially for fast casual. So check out Illegal Pete's, get one of their marks to start your weekend off, coming up in just a couple days.
And we were there last night. It's like, it's just so hard not to go there before these playoff games.
Yeah.
Because you go, and if you have a ticket, I guess a ticket to anything, really. Like, it doesn't even matter what, sports, concert, whatever. You get a free marg or beer if you get an entree. So it's like, okay, this one's a 5-minute walk from the arena.
Yeah.
How could you not go get a free marg and a burrito
true.
before the game?
Especially
or
their
after.
margs. Yeah.
Yeah. So I
You can do that deal before?
Yeah. That's what we always do.
Man.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought it was just after. Wow, that's definitely
You get the
move,
Uber to
then.
Illegal Pete's and walk over.
Yep,
It's so
Dang.
perfect. Basically pays for the Uber.
Seriously.
Yeah.
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 I mean, their margs are so good, too. What a great pregame drink, too.
It's so good. What a great drink in general.
It is.
If you want another great drink, get a beer from Breckenridge Brewery.
Yep.
I think I'm coming to the bar tonight for the Nuggets game.
Let's go.
I hate to commit to things, and so I kind of hate that I'm saying it right now. But plan is to come to the bar tonight. Come to the bar tonight.
Sounds like you've had a couple.
I
brews.
know it does. And you know what that means. It means a bunch of Breckenridge beers. I actually haven't had a lot of beers on tap from here recently, so I don't even know what's on tap. It's going to be a big night.
You're going to have to try them all.
I am gonna have
Maybe
to try
mix
them all. Yeah, I'm really curious.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. Like, I guess Strawberry Sky is always the go-to.
Yep.
Um,
Probably Avalanche Amber Ale,
Yep.
as we have some on the set right now.
actually, for the first Nuggets game at the arena, I got the I should know what it's called. Palisade Peach. The word Palisade
yep.
is always tough.
It kind of goes with peach, though.
Here it does.
Yeah.
Where Palisade Peaches are from. When you come here and people are like, Palisade Peach, and you're just like, what the hell are you talking about? The word Palisade doesn't always stick
fair.
as well.
That's fair.
But yeah, so I mean, I had one of those a couple days ago. I'm not really sure. I guess it's more about quantity tonight. And so that means you want something simple. Those
Yep,
sour
yep,
beers,
yep.
the vanilla
That's
porter,
true.
the heavier beers, probably
Yep.
not tonight. Although, if Michael Porter goes off, then you need the vanilla porter junior.
That's true. That's it. You can't go wrong.
Really can't
you
go
can
wrong.
convince yourself any way that you want to go.
Yep. And if you want to try any of these, you can go to breckbrew.com, use the beer locator. You can find the Broncos Country Pale Ale. You can find all these other beers. And it's awesome.
Jared dropping a horse clock lock
Wow.
in the comment section. A throwback to when Drew was in town.
Horse clock?
Yeah. You know what the a lot of
I get
times
I know the
people
horse
use
cock clock.
like yeah I was gonna say a rooster.
What's the clock in reference to?
No,
Do we need to leave?
definitely not times up. No, clock.
Maybe because
as
those
in,
guys didn't know the time?
No. You know exactly what it's referring to. How do you not know what it's referring to?
The clock?
You just said what it is.
Oh, yeah, I know horse cock lock.
That's what he's referring to.
Didn't he say clock?
Yes, he's using a clock emoji. Yes. A lot of
Oh.
people would use a rooster emoji for it instead. And so it's
so it's like censoring.
horse,
Okay.
rooster lock, cock lock.
Yes.
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 Yeah. So he was just censoring it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Censoring it.
Yeah.
There's no
But then
like time reference.
But then you took the censor off of it because you just straight out said it.
I'll say horse cock lock all day.
Oh my
I used to say it
gosh.
3 times a day.
Oh my gosh. Too bad Drew isn't here, so you could continue to say it 3 times a day.
I miss him.
But speaking of people that we love, on the comment section on the website, we got a few comments that we want to get to. The Count says, will someone please tell Jerry to suck it up, buy out his jersey stock, and donate the old threads to charity and stop whining on Twitter? He's been chill on the Bird app for a while, but he's ruining it now. Love the Count. You hear? Would you pull up Jerry Judy's Twitter right now, please? I've only seen one thing that Jerry's posted. Has he been posting a couple of things about this?
I think there were 2 tweets.
Okay.
But they were basically just that, like, I want to change numbers. I'm not going to pay that much.
Damn. So the rule is with the NFL, you can change your number as long as you buy all of the like unsold jerseys with your old number that are out there, right? Isn't that
Yep.
it? So like all the jerseys that are in the teams
Yep.
or all the jerseys that have been made for NFL.com or NFLshop.com, you've got to go buy those, and then you can change your jersey. And so Jerry has gone on Twitter and said, "Yeah, here, read those for me."
I want that number 4 back so bad, but I ain't paying. Then CD Lamb's like, come out of pocket, slime, laughing emoji. You know they cracking over the head. And Jerry Judy said, can't pay that much for no number. They got it.
Yeah.
Oh, I love Yahir reading tweets.
I mean,
my new favorite thing now.
Yeah, we got to get him reading more tweets for sure. It's just, I mean, I wish that he could just pay the money to do it.
Yeah.
He's bringing home like $2.6 million in cash this year.
Okay.
There's a good chance he's got to pay $1 million to buy all those jerseys.
No, you think they've made that many Jerry Judy jerseys?
I mean, that'd be 10,000 jerseys at $100 each, and they're probably more than 100.
You don't think the NFL like gives you a discount as a player to pay just like?
I don't know if he gets that discount.
Oh my God! So the NFL wants to profit off him. I mean, that doesn't shock me.
No,
But that's so shitty.
and maybe it's not. Even if it's 500,000, that's
Sure.
25%
No,
of
I mean,
your
that's
yearly
yes,
earnings.
I'm not paying that as well.
No,
If
and so it's
someone's
tough.
like, Zach, if you want to wear that shirt that you wore yesterday again, you're going to have to give up a quarter of your salary. I'd say, nah, I'm good
No.
not wearing that shirt again.
No, you probably go shirtless instead.
I definitely would to save 25% of my annual pay. Yes.
So, in similar news, Garrett Wilson, who is number 5 at Ohio State, wants to change from 17 back to his number 5.
Okay.
And he said, I'm going to wear this 17 this year and then number 5 next year. So I wonder if that's saying, like, we're going to get all these jerseys sold so in the future I can change.
Why wouldn't Jerry do that then? If he doesn't want to pay,
would be surprised if he
that's
does.
a way to maneuver pay, and there we go. There's the illegal Pete's brought into the studio.
Wow.
Man, we should have pushed the pod back, Henry.
We should have.
Maybe that is the way to do it.
Probably.
And maybe the downside to that is because players do make money when their jerseys are sold.
True.
Unless they have to buy them. But then if they're buying them, do they still make like a
They probably
percentage
get their
of
cut.
that?
Yeah.
So I guess maybe that's their only discount. But if they... so I guess that would be the downside, is if he says, stop selling my 10 jerseys so that we can sell them all out this year, then he just wouldn't get that pay, but it would be a lot better value in the end. Also, you have to imagine a lot of people would want his number 4 jersey. Probably even some Alabama fans that wouldn't be buying his 10 jersey. They'd want his 4 jersey.
Definitely. No, 4 would be a great number. I wonder what he'd have to pay. I'm sure he's asked.
Let's ask him the next time we talk to him.
We
Because,
should.
I'm sure he's asked.
Definitely.
There's a reason he's saying, I'm not paying that.
Yeah.
Which, who knows, the next time that we get to talk to Jerry Judy.
Yeah.
Maybe training camp. Crazy enough.
I know. That would really suck.
We'll do our best there. But, I hope if he wants 4, I hope he gets it. And if he doesn't want to pay, I hope there's a way he can do it for next year.
So when Dalvin Cook wanted to change his number, so that was for 2021. So we wound up changing it for 2022.
Okay.
His cost for 2021 was $1.5 million.
And he didn't do that.
No, he didn't.
Do you know if he had to pay it all?
I'm sure he did, but I would imagine that it would. They probably found a way to make it cheaper. Like said, like don't keep making more because I'm going to change. Or something like. If Garrett Wilson's doing this now, I'd assume that Dalvin Cook did something similar.
It would have cost him $1.2 million.
Yep.
Yeah. Jerry, don't do that. Don't
do
that.
that. Don't
Just
do that.
to have a different number. Wow.
Adrian Peterson wanted to change his number in 2012 from 28 to 23.
Oh God.
$1 million.
Yeah.
Which again, with inflation, is kind of insane.
Whew. Yeah, that really is. Is this something that the Walton Penners, that the ownership group could pay for? Or would that be like a salary cap infringement by paying a player off to the side? I mean, why couldn't they just say, we're not like paying him extra, we're just going to take that fee?
Yeah.
That would be a dope thing.
Seems like you should be allowed to do that. It would be.
That
it
like
really
a
would
wealthy
be.
owner would be able to do.
That would be awesome.
And it's just a little bonus thing.
It would be. That number 4 would be awesome. And then you say like, hey, we got all these number 10 jerseys now. Like, we're gonna donate them to.
Yep.
Like every kid in Denver gets a number 10 jersey.
Right. And I mean that's kind of what the count's saying. Don't donate it. That would be awesome.
Yeah, it'd be good PR.
It'd be really good PR. Man, I like that. Also, if let's say Jerry hasn't liked all the trade rumors over this past year and he's a little upset with the organization, what a way to kind of get on his side. Jerry,
that would be good.
You want to change 4? And we're going to show our commitment to you. We're just going to pay the $1 million fee for you to change your jersey.
Yeah.
Man,
that makes sense.
Man, maybe we're on to something. We got to talk to Jerry about it. And last comment from Nash Broncos says, my boys, me thinks RK is away scouting a new All-City location, but it's none of my business. Shoot, for a bit of optimism today. Do you guys realize the Rams don't have a kicker or punter on their roster? They're stuck with an oft-injured backfield and quarterback, a shaky defense that has lost a lot of talent recently, and are officially paying their dues for that Super Bowl win. Is this just the cycle for everyone except Hank's team after they win a Super Bowl?
Wow. No, don't say that.
I mean, what it boils down to is, do you have a long-term franchise quarterback? If so, then no, this doesn't happen to you. If you don't, then yes, it does happen to you. Matthew Stafford is, when healthy, he's a franchise quarterback, but he wasn't even healthy during their Super Bowl run year. He just was able to keep it together and keep his body together for that run. Then his body completely fell apart last year. His body may not ever be back to where it is, and then they're really toast. And they went all in more than typically teams do. The Broncos, obviously, after Payton, they no longer had their franchise quarterback. The Patriots, when they were so good, it's because they had Tom Brady. They had their long-term franchise quarterback. So that's really what it boils down to.
Yep. Again, like, it's not even just you need him to be a franchise quarterback. It's you need him to be able to carry a terrible roster. Like, and again, who has done that? Patrick Mahomes and Tom Brady. Nobody else ever has been able to do that. Matt Stafford, there was no chance that they were going to be any good once they had to start getting rid of all those Pro Bowlers.
Man, the Rams are... If Matthew Stafford's not healthy, they are Cooper Kupp and Aaron Donald.
And even if he is healthy, it's like, what? NFC sucks. He's a Pro Bowler in the NFC. But, like, AFC is not close to a Pro Bowler if he's at his best.
Man, with their offensive line, though, Matthew Stafford's not a guy that can handle pressure, and that could be really tough for him.
They are screwed.
It's insane, though. They have, like, 2 of the best players in the NFL.
Yeah.
And that's it.
Exactly. And Cooper Kupp, I mean, I guess he was mostly just hurt. I don't think he was bad when he was healthy.
Last year, I think you're right. I think he was just hurt.
Yeah, I think so too. But he's also, only 29. I thought he'd be older than that by now.
Wow. And Aaron Donald's like, hey, they're paying me $30 million. I'm going to stick
around
retire, for one more year, get some more stats, and be a first ballot Hall of Famer with an extra $30 million in my pocket.
Yeah. They'll keep him around. I guess when he's gone, they'll have $30 million.
Yeah.
Which pays the bill.
Right.
Like, then all of a sudden they're back to kind of even.
Right.
So that's not even that great.
But they don't want to get rid of him now because then they just have Cooper Kupp and that's it. Then you can't sell the team for anything. Like, you can't sell fans on anything about the team.
There is, like, they have nothing. Like,
so, I mean,
it is crazy.
Some people think that the Broncos are in a tough position, and understandably so if you think that. But there are teams that are in way worse position.
Yeah. Like, the rest of that defensive line, Jonah Williams and Marquise Copeland. Linebackers in the 3-4, Michael Holt, Christian Roseboom, Ernest Jones, and Keir Thomas.
Yeah.
Secondaries, Darian Kendrick, Jordan Fuller, Russ Yeast, Robert Rochelle, and Kobe Durant. I mean, the receivers, like, they've got Cooper Kupp, and they've got Van Jefferson and Ban Skoranek.
Yeah.
Which turns that overall into like a, sure, that's fine.
Right.
We'll take that as an average receiver group. Broncos wouldn't trade places with them.
Think about the play. Wait, where's Leonard Floyd? Is he still there? Or did they move on from him this year?
I think they did.
Just think about the players that they've lost in the past.
Still a free agent.
14 months. Leonard Floyd, really good player. Von Miller, future Hall of Famer.
Allen Robinson?
Allen Robinson yesterday. Why can't I think of the middle linebacker? Bobby Wagner, and Hall of Famer, and Hall of Fame cornerback Jalen Ramsey. I mean, if we're talking about they've lost like 3 Hall of Famers plus like a Pro Bowler in Leonard Floyd. And apparently Henry's favorite receiver, Allen Robinson.
That guy's terrible. Everyone wants to say, well, no, he's always had bad quarterbacks. It's like, well, yeah, but he's been bad. Like,
I mean, look what Cooper Kupp did with the exact same quarterback.
Exactly. Like that, yeah.
Cooper Kupp's the best receiver in the NFL when he's healthy.
Like, it's been 9 years of excuses? 8 years? 8 years or 9 years? I think 9 years of excuses for Allen Robinson.
Oh, it's so there's a couple of receivers like that, and I feel like they
3,000-yard seasons.
Okay, I mean that's good.
In 9 years.
Yeah, that's
Like,
true
yeah.
for how good he's supposed to be. But just think about that. How devastating was it for the Broncos and Broncos fans when they lost Von Miller? And that was one Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
Imagine losing all of these guys. Just what
Yeah.
a bad position
That is crazy.
the Rams are in. Jeez, but good thing we're not covering a mess like that. We're covering the Broncos.
Our own mess.
Hopefully, it's not as much of a mess this year. We'll talk to the leaders of that tomorrow. Stay tuned to Henry's Twitter account, to my Twitter account, to DNVR Broncos press conference at noon tomorrow. And we're going to be going live shortly after 12:45. So make sure to stay tuned tomorrow when it's going to be an action-packed day. But until then, have a great hump day. We'll see you on the flip side.